After running 10K in these things, Bailey, Case, and Brian all placed first in their age group, qualifying them for the national race in Colorado. Every week, the cooking students sit down to a meal collectively prepared by the whole class. And this week's theme is South American food, so we'll go ahead and see how it tastes. It's actually really good. When it comes to finding a contractor, most homeowners look for the best deal. But when you really want to protect your money, what you need to be looking for is a license. The success of BYU sports certainly impacts the number of applicants. When the BYU basketball team made it to the Sweet 16, they received 1,000 more applications than they did the previous year. With so many Divine Comedy fans around campus, Studio C is already starting with a pretty strong fan base, and a lot of those fans showed up at their pre-screening. Standing at 6'4", it's easy to see that Stephanie is made to be an athlete, while some of us are better off in the crowd. Imagine building a house for someone, spending $4,600 on cabinets, and then never getting them. That happened to Casey Cloward, a licensed contractor, but the unlicensed cabinet maker Cloward hired took his money and never did the work.
He was very well informed in on the cabinet side of things. I gave him the down payment.
When it comes to finding a contractor, most homeowners look for the best deal. But when you really want to protect your money, what you need to be looking for is a license. Mark Steinigel, the director of professional licensing for Utah, says he thinks there are hundreds of unlicensed contractors working in Utah County, a growing problem for homeowners and the licensed contractors.
Those who have done it the right way don't want people giving their industry a bad name. So we get complaints.
To catch them, Steinigel and his team target online advertisements, meet with the contractors, and surprise them with a little justice.
And a very high percentage of them, like we thought, were not licensed, and so they were issued citations.
To avoid being scammed, Steinigel says that homeowners need to get references, avoid paying too much up front, and most importantly, make sure they have a license.
There are a lot of good professionals out there. Use them.
In Saratoga Springs, Kristen, Firmage, 11 News. Meet Emily Johnson, communications disorder major at BYU, karate student, and probably the biggest Peanuts fan you'll ever meet. Why? Because her grandfather is Charles Schulz, the man behind the beloved cartoon.
Most people are like, what? No way, that's the coolest thing ever. And they start asking me a bunch of questions. And then there's always a few people who are like, Charles Schulz, who is that?
Being related to a famous cartoonist may be extraordinary to some, but for Emily, he's still just her grandpa.
As I got older, people started to think that was like really cool, and I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, why do you think that's so cool? He draws cartoons. Like, doesn't your grandpa?
Emily shared many interesting facts with me about her grandfather, including the story of his retirement after 50 years of drawing Peanuts.
He worked right up until his death, actually. He wrote out his retirement letter, and he wrote it as like almost a comic strip, and he was going to send it to the newspapers the next day. So he sent it in, and then he died on Saturday, and then the next Sunday morning it went out. So like he retired literally the day he died.
Emily's grandfather died when she was only 8 years old, but she still holds on tightly to the memories she has of him.
I loved going to his ice show. My grandpa has his own ice arena. I'd sit next to my grandpa, and we'd always drink apple cider. And then afterwards, we'd all get to go on the ice ourselves and just skate around. And I thought that was really fun.
Being in the Johnson house is like stepping right into a Peanuts cartoon. These artifacts hold lots of memories for Emily and her family, keeping the spirit of her grandfather alive.
In my bedroom, I had comic strips that were signed by him for me specifically that he'd send me on my birthday, and he'd make the comic strips about something I liked. Like at the time, like I have a Barney comic strip.
One of Emily's favorite memories is painting statues like these with her siblings for a yearly auction. In the end, the legacy of Charles Schulz and his lovable Peanuts will be carried on by Emily and her family.
The first great-grandson from Charles M. Schulz.
Kristen, Firmage, BYU Weekly.
There are so many new TV shows to follow every fall, but there's a show on BYU TV that's quite different from the rest of your evening lineup. Reporter Kristen Firmage introduces us to Studio C, a clean comedy show that you won't want to miss.
Gather the family and take a seat, because this fall, BYU TV is giving you something they've never offered before: comedy.
Studio C is a sketch comedy TV show similar to, you know, Saturday Night Live. But obviously it's more clean than Saturday Night Live.
Divine Comedy fans have been buzzing about Studio C because the cast, writers, and even the co-creator of the show all have ties to the BYU Comedy Group.
We've pulled a lot of talent from Divine Comedy. There's been a lot of talent there. We've created a show that's just a little bit more professional because of budgets and because of the talent and experience that we've been able to have on this show. It makes it just a little bit different than DC.
Matt Meese came to Jared Shores with the idea for the show over a year ago, wanting to bring laughter to the masses and knowing just how to do it.
That is why it's such a good idea for BYUB, is because it's so different, and I think that's what they're looking for right now. We had already demonstrated that we had an audience, and so it was kind of a no-brainer, I think.
Matt and his friends, Jason, Mallory, and Whitney, do all the writing for the show, which is now in its first season.
We get together a lot and just kind of brainstorm, but a lot of the writing happens individually, and we come back and we say, hey, this is what I wrote, what do you think? And we say it's great, or this needs to be set on fire.
And we've performed a lot together, and so we're really comfortable with pumping things out and having fun on stage. We all work really well together. We have fun.
This is a dream come true for all these actors who love comedy but never imagined they would get their own TV show.
I really believe in comedy. I believe that it's a huge force for good, and I love to make people laugh. I was planning on medical school when I got to college, so I don't even know what happened.
Ever since I was a little kid, I just loved doing characters. I remember when Pirates of the Caribbean came out, and I got the voice, you know, impersonation down. You know, I went to school and I was like, I'm Jonah Depp, and so. And now I get to do it, like I get paid to do it, you know.
With so many Divine Comedy fans around campus, Studio C is already starting with a pretty strong fan base, and a lot of those fans showed up at their pre-screening.
Comedy is the ability to see things as they are and recognize the reasons why things happen sometimes. And so, to me, I think that people should watch this show because it makes people feel good. It makes people love life more.
For the whole Studio C team, the best part of their job is being able to provide clean entertainment for families worldwide.
And really what I want is for families to be able to watch it together and not have to worry about, you know, covering little Timmy's eyes or grandma's like, what is that? Inappropriateness?
You don't have to be LDS to get the jokes. It's clean and clever, like Pixar. It's something that the family can enjoy.
This is a new leap for BYU TV, and everyone is excited about it. The fans, the producers, and the actors.
BYU TV has never done comedy before, and it's really exciting. We're like paving new roads.
And before I thought of BYU TV as like, you know, mostly reruns of Little House on the Prairie and Scripture Roundtable and things like that. But now it's, you know, it's starting to be a hip channel that college-age students can enjoy, and it's not your grandma's TV station anymore.
With a new show every Monday night at 7 p.m., the Studio C team hopes to have enough laughs to carry them through many seasons to come.
I really think we've got a great cast, great writers, great crew, everybody, so I think people should tune in.
Watch the show.
Kristen, Firmage, BYU Weekly.